Today's question is from Cindy. She says she had a weird question and she hoped we could answer. She has a Creations flowering dogwood cling stamp and can't find the matching die file. How can she make her own to fit with that particular cling stamp? This is the Creative Crafters Podcast. Hi, I'm Bette from Bette's Makes, and this is your questions answered. Well, Cindy, there's a couple of things you can do. Of course, if you have the die itself, it is very easy you would need black ink to do this, because what you want to do is be able to stamp your flowering dogwood, and you said it's a cling stamp, and push it down. And of course, from that point with the black ink, you need a very clean image with black ink. Or if you do it faintly, what you can do is take a pencil and trace it out and push down, so you trace all the outer pieces that you want and then anything on the inside, so that you can start creating your own SVG. Once you have everything down, you can do it on just plain white cardstock. You need a very white background with the black on top, and as I mentioned, you can trace it by pencil or stamp it with a black ink. And that is the first part. The second part now is to scan it, and you can scan it with your phone, or if you have a scanner or a printer, just scan it in. If you have neither of those, you can always take a nice, clear, sharp picture with your phone. And once you have those scanned in and you have a file, generally they will be PNG or JPEG files. One or the other, it won't matter which one that you use. What you need to do then is upload it into a piece of software in order to clean up the image. And of course, you can use the free ones such as Inkscape, and there are other ways you can do it as well if Inkscape is not what you like to use. I generally use Illustrator. What I do is I bring the scan into Illustrator, and this process would be the same no matter what you do. And then what I have it do is do an image trace. Now that trace, if it doesn't work with 3 color, I bump it up to 16 color image trace and allow it to trace it out. And then I can take that tracing and clean up the edges with it with the draw pen, and just go over top with my own handwork right on the screen to get a really clear, sharp image. And then I can delete the rest in the background. Now I know it sounds a little onerous, but you do have to do it by hand in order for it to work extremely well. Once the image is all nice and cleaned up, you want to check the sizing of the image. I would suggest you use a fairly large one, because you're going to save it as an SVG file, and that will allow you to grow or shrink it without any problem. Generally, I try to make those items about 5 inches or 6 inches wide, just so you can get a really good trace on it. So once you have those clean lines, the big key now is, of course, you want to save it in that program so you can come back to it if you need to make corrections. But then you want to export it, and in Illustrator it's export for screens, and then give it a name of what you want. In this case, it might be flowering dogwood. And then you want to export it as an SVG file. Once that is exported, you can then bring it up into Design Space and start using it the way you want. Now, if it's a flowering dogwood and it has several different parts and pieces to it, just remember it is an SVG file, so it has special little lines. You will be able to recolor those inside of Design Space as you need. This has been the Creative Crafters Podcast, and your questions answered.